Federal authorities subpoena Minnesota's governor and Minneapolis's mayor as immigration enforcement tensions rise. Questions swirl around a Minnesota lawmaker's sudden surge in wealth. And a new list reveals the best weekend getaways in every state. Plus, student loan collections are put on pause, a major obesity drug gives markets a boost, and the White House signals hesitation over the next Federal Reserve chair. And today's trivia, what was the name of the special army unit that accompanied Lewis and Clark? It's Sunday, January 18th, and this is the Flyover Podcast. Hi, I'm your weekend host, Amy Hess. Thanks for joining me on the Flyover Podcast. Did you know today is National Thesaurus Day? There really is a day for everything, but this one I can get behind. Words matter, and we have a rich tapestry of them at our disposal. Wordsmithing is an underrated skill and maybe one we don't value enough anymore. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. With that, we've got some words to deliver to you. Let's get ready for takeoff. Here are the top headlines of the day. The Department of Justice on Friday issued subpoenas for Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, accusing them of impeding federal immigration enforcement through public statements they have made. The investigation comes during a week-long immigration crackdown in Minneapolis and St. Paul, in which the Department of Homeland Security has made more than 2,500 arrests. Part of the focus has been on a growing welfare fraud scandal involving some members of the state's Somalia community. Frey described the reports of an investigation as an obvious attempt to intimidate. As of Thursday, ICE held about 73,000 individuals facing deportation in its custody across the country, the highest level recorded by the agency in its 23-year history. Next, the House Oversight Committee is probing Ilhan Omar, who reported a net worth of close to $30 million in her latest financial disclosure. The Minnesota lawmaker and her husband, Tim Minette, experienced a roughly 3,500% increase in net worth last year compared to 2023, according to the disclosure. Investment firm Rose Lake Capital, formed by Minette and partner Will Haler in 2022, had $42.44 in its bank account in late 2022, but the firm's value grew to $25 million in 1 year, according to Omar's 2024 filing. Rose Lake boasts on its website that it does private equity work and that its officers had billions in, quote, previous assets under management. House Oversight Panel Chairman Republican James Comer from Kentucky said, quote, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's not. I'm a money guy. It's not possible. Finally, ever wondered what the best weekend getaways are in each state? Well, Reader's Digest has you covered. Quiet shorelines, mountain trails, and walkable small towns are among the top weekend getaways in each state across the country. The curated list picks destinations based on online reviews and how easily visitors can reach the destination with short drives and flights. Those who love the outdoors might consider Bozeman, Montana, for its quick access to mountain trails, hot springs, and fishing the Gallatin River. Lexington, Kentucky, known as the horse capital of the world, offers miles of rolling green horse farms with white picket fences and prized thoroughbreds grazing. It's absolutely beautiful. For sun and sand lovers, Marco Island, Florida, sits just above the Everglades along Florida's Gulf Coast. The tiny upscale island is ideal for boaters, fishermen, and dolphin lovers. Looking through the list, there are several that I've been to, like Lexington, Sedona, Aspen, Napa Valley, Chicago, New Orleans, Lake Tahoe, Santa Fe, New York, Asheville, Cincinnati, Charleston, Nashville, Park City. For those counting at home, that's 14 out of 50. Clearly, I need to get out more. How many have you been to? Check the link in the show notes to tally up your victories or make a bucket list. Your money news is next. First up, a pause on student loan enforcement. The Department of Education delayed plans to garnish wages of defaulted student loan borrowers as the Trump administration pursues major repayment program reforms. And turning now to the markets, this next one caught investors' attention. Novo Nordisk shares jumped more than 8% Friday after early prescription data showed a strong start to the U.S. launch of the company's new GLP-1 obesity pill. And finally, a note out of Washington on the future of the Federal Reserve. President Trump expressed reluctance to appoint Kevin Hassett as Federal Reserve Chair, saying Hassett serves as a key administration messenger in his role as White House National Economic Council Director. Let's take a look at how the markets did overall last week. It was mixed. The Nasdaq fell 0.26%. The S&P 500 was down 0.06%, and the Dow slipped further at 0.28%. Bucking the trend, Bitcoin went up 5.17%. Gold inched up 0.20%, and silver went up the most, 10.36%, with oil edging up 0.75%. Time for Podcast Extra, where we give you even more than the email edition. We start overseas. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has publicly acknowledged for the first time that thousands of people were killed during recent nationwide protests, some in what he called a, quote, inhumane, savage manner. Rights groups estimate at least 3,090 deaths, though the true toll remains unclear due to a near-total internet blackout. Khamenei blamed the U.S. for the unrest, which began over economic conditions in late December and evolved into calls to end his rule. U.S. officials warned Iran against targeting American forces, saying any such move would be met with overwhelming force. Turning now from unrest overseas to a policy fight here at home. Federal childcare funding has drawn renewed attention as President Trump seeks to cut aid to several states following fraud allegations involving daycare operators in Minnesota. A recent study shows that the federal government spent about $29 billion nationwide on childcare subsidies in 2022, with funds supporting programs, workforce training, and quality standards. California received the most federal childcare funding at nearly $1.5 billion, followed by Texas, Florida, and New York, all among the states Trump is targeted for potential cuts. While some lower population states receive less funding overall, places like New Mexico and West Virginia rank highest in federal support per child. And shifting gears, literally, this next story is about how cities are rethinking traffic. Cities across the U.S. are increasingly scrapping one-way streets in favor of two-way traffic, reversing designs once meant to speed cars through downtowns. City officials say the changes improve safety, slow speeding, and help revive businesses by making streets more pedestrian-friendly. Examples in Indianapolis, Louisville, and Chattanooga show two-way conversions can boost development and reconnect neighborhoods long cut off by traffic-focused planning. Transportation experts say one-way streets often prioritize cars over people, a trade-off many cities are now rethinking. Still ahead, contract talks in Green Bay, a big move by the New York Mets, and to look at whatever happened to one of television's most iconic characters. Plus, new tariffs tied to NATO countries, a historic inauguration in Virginia, and a gemstone so large it's valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. But first, a word from our sponsor, Purance. With this job, I have to pay attention to my hair. And as I've aged, my hair has changed in texture and thickness. Normally, you'd find me in a baseball hat, but when I have to have my hair looking nice, I make sure to use this shampoo. It's called Hydrolift Volumizing Shampoo by Purance, and they take a very different approach to hair care. Hydrolift is made with clean, organic ingredients that are EcoCert Cosmos certified, sustainably sourced, and free from parabens, silicones, and sulfates. So instead of masking issues with heavy coatings, it's designed to work with your hair's natural structure. It also includes a professional-grade protein complex that helps strengthen each strand while supporting natural volume and moisture balance. I've noticed over time that my hair feels fuller and healthier. Using it is simple. Just massage it into wet hair, let it sit for a minute or two, and that is an important step, and then rinse. You can use it a couple times a week or as needed. And they back it with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk in trying it. If you're looking to clean up your hair routine and add some natural lift, head to www.pureance.com or click the link in the show notes. Use promo code FLYOVER to get 35% off your order. Your hair and your wallet will thank you. Time for a quick update on sports. The Green Bay Packers are working on extensions for both head coach Matt LaFleur and general manager Brian Gutekunst, despite a disappointing 2025 season. And the New York Mets have agreed to a 3-year, $126 million contract with Bo Bichette, who had previously played shortstop for the 2025 American League Toronto Blue Jays. Now it's time to answer those nagging questions that make you wonder, whatever happened to that? Today we answer, whatever happened to the Fonz? In the early season of ABC TV's Happy Days, Arthur Fonzie Fonzarelli isn't supposed to be the point. He's a side character, a leather-jacketed, soft-spoken greaser who drifts through Arnold's drive-in like a local weather system. Cool, unpredictable, and at first, slightly dangerous. But audiences didn't treat him like seasoning. They treated him like the meal. The show, built to spotlight Richie Cunningham's clean-cut coming of age, slowly rotated on its axis until it orbited the Fonz. That was actor Henry Winkler's first big step to fame, a supporting player who became pop culture shorthand for confidence, charisma, and a kind of American myth of cool. By the mid to late 1970s, the transformation was complete. Happy Days was a hit. Fonzie was its rocket fuel, and the ratings peaked accordingly. Then came the moment that would outlive the series itself. September 20th, 1977, when Fonzie, wearing swim trunks and yes, his leather jacket, water skied and jumped over a shark. The scene didn't instantly sink the show, but it crystallized a feeling. The sense that a once effortless phenomenon was now reaching for spectacle. Years later, fans would coin the phrase, jump the shark, to describe any story that's run past its best. For Winkler, escaping Fonzie's shadow took longer than the ride to Hollywood. He didn't disappear, he diversified, producing, directing, popping up in comedies, and eventually landing a career-defining late peak as Gene Cousineau on HBO's Barry, which won him an Emmy in 2018. Today, he's still working, hosting Hazardous History, and lining up new film roles, proof that one iconic character can be a trap or a launch pad if you keep moving. Were you a Fonzie fan or a Henry Winkler fan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. A few more quick headlines we thought you needed to know before we land. President Trump on Saturday called for new leadership in Iran after Khamenei labeled Trump a criminal and blamed him for the regime's killing of thousands of protesters. Staying overseas for a moment, but with economic consequences here at home, the Trump administration announced that goods from 8 NATO countries will face tariffs starting at 10% on February 1st and rising to 25% by June 1st unless a deal is reached to purchase Greenland. Now to a major political milestone at the state level. Democrat Abigail Spanberger was sworn in Saturday as Virginia's 75th governor, becoming the state's first woman chief executive after defeating Republican Winsome Earl Sears. And finally, a headline that's a little less politics and a little more jaw-dropping. Star of Pure Land, believed to be the world's largest purple star sapphire, is headed to market, with unnamed Sri Lankan owners valuing the 3,563-carat gemstone at least $300 million. Time to turn the mic over to you. Yesterday we asked, in terms of Ford or Chevy, which side are you on? And here's how you answered. 27% said other. 22% went with Team Ford, 19% said Team Chevy. 17% of you are not picky. You will drive either. And 15% of you took low maintenance a step further, choosing something that starts. I drove a Ford Edge all through my kids' formative years, and I got so attached to that thing. It was hard when it finally bit the dust and I had to get something else. But I saved up and got a new-to-me car that I absolutely love even more. Can you guess what it is? Let me know your guess in the comments. Here's today's question. Have you ever reconnected with an old friend from your past? Here are your choices. Yes, and it was great. No, but I've thought about it. Or I should reach out. And the last choice is other. You can make your voice heard with a link in the show notes or in your email, and weekday host Ayla Brown will have the results for you tomorrow. Time for your brain boost. Today's trivia is, what was the name of the special army unit that accompanied Lewis and Clark? The answer? The Corps of Discovery was a specially established unit of the United States Army which formed the nucleus of the Lewis and Clark expedition that took place between May 1804 and September 1806. The Corps was led jointly by Captain Meriwether Lewis and Second Lieutenant William Clark. And that's going to do it for today's flyover. Thank you so much for spending part of your weekend with me. Ayla Brown will have the news for you starting tomorrow for your weekday ride, and I'll see you right back here for the weekend. As always, thanks for flying with us.